Okay, so my dinner is ready. This is fit enough to serve to a king, I feel. There we are. This is the dish that I was making of something called parta. And then we've got our salad and some lamb curry, some homemade pickle and green mint chutney. So these are other dishes that hopefully inshallah I will share with you. So far we have done the salad and we have done the parta. Keep on watching. I will be making some homemade achar which will be similar to that, and then perhaps the curry, we've got a mixture of curries there because we had so many little bits left over, so I've just combined them all. So anyway, we are going to tuck into this. Do try the parta out, whether it's with the capsicums or whether it's without. Now it does look a little bit buttery because I was limited on how much of the aubergine pulp I had. So if I had enough aubergine, then I wouldn't have added the capsicums. Perhaps sometime. Assalamualaikum and welcome to Dilpasand Cookery Lessons. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make an aubergine curry, which is called, in our language we've always called it parta. I have no idea why it's called parta. I'll give you a little bit of a background onto how it's traditionally cooked in Pakistan, but how I'm going to cook it here. At the moment, this is one of my favourite dishes of some of my family members, and unfortunately I have only this one aubergine at home. Generally I would probably prefer to make slightly bigger ones than this, and probably two because one is not enough. So we're just going to have, I haven't got time to go to the shops, and I don't have the luxury of living in the shop anymore. So we're going to be beating this up a little bit just to soften it up. So just give it a little bit of a bash. Take your anger out on it if you want. So just to soften it up. Now the way this aubergine is generally cooked in Pakistan and so on is cooked in the tandoor. A tandoor is a clay oven which is lit with fire. The fire is lit with fire. The fire is lit by wood, proper wood pieces, and then once it goes really hot, they normally make chapatis on it, and once they've cooked the chapatis, the ashes that are left, they normally get these aubergines and bury them in the ash and just leave them there buried for about maybe half an hour, depending on how hot or how much of a heat the ashes is made of. So they would normally bury it in there, and then after it's been buried there for a while, what they would do is they would take it out and they would take the skin off and then mash up the pulp, and then add homemade butter and black pepper and salt to that as flavouring, and serve that with chapati. Now unfortunately we don't have the clay ovens here, so we are going to use our traditional cooker. So what we've done is we beat this up, and we're just going to leave it on the flame and let it burn, let it cook up. The outside skin will burn off, and the inside, already you'll have to keep turning it once it starts getting to that stage. Already you can see the steam coming out, and it'll slowly start, swap it around quite a few times and make sure that it doesn't, it cooks sort of evenly and doesn't burn, because we don't want it sort of burnt. What we want is the skin burning off, and then peel the skin off too. So it's going to take about maybe 4 or 5 minutes to get fully cooked. It sort of gives off a burnt off kind of a smell, and that's the aroma of the dish that you want. Now later on, when we add the ingredients to make this into the curry, there's several ways that people do it. I like to keep it simple. There's several ways that people cook this, and then funnily enough it's quite a traditional dish in where we come from, and often because we have aubergines growing in our own land and so on, they're very organic, very fresh, and available in sort of vast quantity. So here obviously is slightly different. We don't have the luxury of growing them in our gardens and so on. So it's quite a traditional dish there. Now often I've talked to people and I've mentioned the dish and they've said they've never heard of it and they've never cooked it. But it's quite popular in our region, so I wanted to share it with you. I would want you to try it out, and I will give you serving suggestions later on. So I'm just going to let this, you know, the outside is already beginning to cook. I'm going to let it cook and then hopefully join you again. So some portions of this may get cooked, and just to avoid it, stop it from leaking all over, you can wrap it in some foil and just cook the rest of it, and then just let it cool down a bit, because it is quite hot and it will be difficult to peel the outside skin. Basically it will have some like a watery residue inside, and you're taking away the burnt outer skin, so peel away that so that it just reveals the pulp from inside. It is quite hot. I would say let it cool down a bit before attempting this. Okay, but I just wanted to show you what that basically looks like. I need to take away the outside, and then I need to use a masher or something to grind the pulp to make it quite, you can take a whisk and or you can take a blender and just blend it to quite small. It'll be like a puree. That's what you want to create, a puree out of it. And then we're just gonna melt some butter and add a few ingredients to that. Okay, so we've taken out, stripped and it has some juice inside it. You want to drain that out because it has like a bittery taste. We don't want to add, because obviously we'll need to dry that out, so just press it so all the juice goes out, and then take off the stem and now in a pan, what we want is melt some butter, about about 4 ounces, maybe 6 ounces of butter. Clean away the mess. Now when you melt the butter, do it on a slow heat because you don't want it to burn. So just on a slow heat, let the butter just melt away. And the pulp of the aubergine, you want to just take a whisk. Now this isn't actually very, this isn't a lot, this is only a little bit because we only have one aubergine. It's actually finding it difficult. Make sure you turn your heat down. You need it a little bit more than this actually, because this is just too less. Because there wasn't enough in here, it's a little bit difficult to mash up. If you've got a potato masher, then it's ideal to do it with that. I'm a little bit lazy, so I tend to use, you have to beat it otherwise and break it down. Now we want, from the butter, we want this this dried out as much as possible. But keep a close eye on the butter because you don't want it burning. Now that might seem awfully a lot of butter. Try to dry out the milk in the butter so that it reduces the cooking time and the flavour of the, you don't want the flavour left of the milk in the butter. Then add the pulp of the aubergine. Turn your gas down and just fry it in that for a while so that the watery content of that is dried out. I'm actually quite upset that I've only got a little bit. Now this is really nice served with chapati, or in, you know, you can use it like a sandwich filler in bread. An ideal sandwich filler it is, and you can add other ingredients to it if you wanted. You can add things like capsicums and tomatoes and so on, just to give it, like, this is quite, I think what I'm gonna do is generally there'd be more than this, and it'd be more what's it called, it'd be more than this, and the butter won't be that apparent. Now unfortunately we had very little, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a few more things to this. Generally I don't do this. I'm gonna add a couple of other things to it. I think my daughter might not like it as much because of the fact that I've gone and added a few things, but then you know what, there's no harm in trying. I'm adding a bit of red capsicum, a bit of green capsicum, and before I add salt and pepper. This is just to make it just a little bit more, because we've actually got this is a parta with a difference. This is my own variation. Now generally when you cook it, just add black pepper and a little bit of salt. Be cautious with the salt, because even a small amount can end up being too much. Today we're limited on just how much of the aubergine we had, so we're just adding a couple of other ingredients to this. And I tell you, if you could smell the aroma of this, it's absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful smell. And if it's something that you've never tried, I would highly encourage you to try it out. These are a couple of chilies that I had left over from the salad that I made a couple of days ago. So we're going to add all these ingredients to our parta. I'm just going to cook it for a few seconds before we add the salt and pepper. Now what you should start experiencing is, what I want it to do is, I want the butter to disappear in this. I want to stir this so that the butter starts to disappear. And it starts frying out. Now to this we're going to add a sort of like a teaspoon of black pepper, and be careful with the salt, just a pinch of salt, because salt it doesn't require a lot of salt and you can overpower it very quickly, and that's all you need. You need to just leave that on very slow heat whilst you make your chapati, or serve it with naan bread or bat bread or anything else you like, crust bread, you know, use it as a filler. I tell you, this is far better than any what's it called, a mayonnaise filling. Disappointed. Okay, my daughter's a bit disappointed because I've not left this as an original. That's how you come up with new dishes.
Yeah, but
you
I like the original. You don't need to mess with it if it's nice.
You just like the original. Well, you know what? It's how you come up with new inventions. Put it that way. I'm all for new inventions.
I'm not.
Are you not? Why?
Not with this.
Why? Are you such a boring person?
Why are you putting parsley?
Coriander. It's not parsley, it's coriander.
Coriander. Why are you putting coriander?
I love coriander.
It doesn't need coriander.
I know. We'll make it again and we'll make it without the
No, I'm going
add-on.
tomorrow, so...
I'll make it you can take it with you.
No, it's not the same.
It's not the same. Okay, we're not crying. Now you can see, you can hear how the popularity of this dish, right, called parta, by the tone of Halima's voice, because she is stuck on having it as a natural, nothing added, you know, nothing extra. But I tell you, you know, whether you wanted to make it with these, I'm sure even you'll enjoy this as well. I'm telling you, you'll enjoy it.
I have no doubt, but
You have no doubt you will enjoy it. Okay, we will let her be the verdict when she tastes it. I'm going to make some chapati and then we shall do a taster session.